Welcome to another Solo Leveling Arise video. So, Guild Boss has been out for think about a week or two, and I did an initial ranking, which I'm gonna show on the screen right now. So this is what I initially thought would be very good in this Guild Boss, and I hit on some and I missed on a couple, which is gonna be interesting, especially when we go over this and we see on who is, I think, gonna be on the very top now. So let's go back to this ranking. So let's start with Alicia. This is going to be the ranking from double S to D because I have every SR character here, as well as weapons, as well as a couple SR, which I think are going to be really good. So let's start with Alicia. Alicia, I think she's going to be an S for Guild Boss. I had her at double S earlier because I thought she would be the best, one of the best DPS. Sadly, I don't think that's the case. Her mechanic with the freeze just does not compare with everyone else at the moment in this Guild Boss, since the boss can't be frozen, sadly. If the boss can be frozen, she would probably be in double S, but sadly she can't. She's still amazing in Vulcan, but other than that, Queen Alicia sadly is slowly dropping as time goes on, especially with the new workshop that's going to be resistant to water. She's just not as strong as anymore, which is, I guess, is a good thing, but so that, let's move on to the next one. Yusuhyun. Yusuhyun, I think, is going to be an A. She's a really good fire debuffer, but the problem is fire doesn't have a really strong DPS at the moment. So the moment we actually get a game-breaking fire DPS for this Guild Boss, her value is going to go up because 20% fire damage taken, that's a lot of debuff. That's a lot. But sadly, I can only put her in A because we can't really use her well. So next, Wujinshou, I would probably put in B. His break is not strong enough. He doesn't do a lot of damage, and then the only thing he gives is a plus 12% support for wind when he breaks an enemy. And the problem with this fight, you're not breaking until at the last 30 seconds or something like that. Whenever the enemy actually puts up his break gauge. So you're not actually getting that. I might even actually lower him down to C. I had him in A in my previous ranking, and sadly, I think that was a little too high. He doesn't really give much. He just breaks, doesn't do enough damage, and it's not good enough. So next, Libora. Libora is going to be in double S. Her charm is amazing. We're going to get two brand new dark characters in the game. She's probably going to be supporting them very well. But without that, she's still very good with her puppets with just passive damage. It increases dark damage, which is good for Sung Jin-woo's Moonshadow, which we're going to talk about later on. Other than that, charms 15%, that's going to be there pretty much permanently, is just going to be amazing. So I was right putting her in double S. Hajiwoo. Hajiwoo, I'm going to have to put probably a same thing as Wujinshou. Her break is not enough. She does damage, sure, but can't really put her on a team. I don't really have a spot to put her in the team, sadly, so I think I'm just gonna have to put her there. And then for her breaking, there's just a better breaker. Min Byung-gu is gonna be interesting. His punishment is gonna be 5% for the most part, but he's a healer. So I had him at double S, which was a mistake, so I think I'm gonna have to put him in A. Gonna be a very good healer. You're gonna want him in your team if you need survivability. He heals, and then he gives you some crit stuff. But other than that, there's just better options, sadly, and especially with his punishment not working properly. So with that, next character, Meilin. Meilin, she's in between double S and S, but let's just put her in S for now, and she's a very good core attack support. And the best core attack for Guild Boss is not Alicia, it's someone else. But she's very good at this. You build her with one hit kill as well as Sylph's Blessing, and you're just gonna get that stacked up, especially since she gives power gauge to everyone. So I think I might actually just bump her up. She's very good, especially when you use her as in party A. She's gonna be buffing Sung Jin-woo's power gauge, which is gonna be actually very important. So yeah, double S for her is fair, which I had her in S last time, so buffing up, which is great. Next, Hansemi, I'm gonna have to put an A, in S. I mean, she gives really strong buffs for Amamiya. But is that good enough for her in double S? Because I think double S is just a special type of characters that can go there. And she doesn't do damage, but she doesn't provide, I don't know, not really remember she provides power gauge. But the thing that she gives, let me actually just quickly look to see if she provides power gauge. Oh, she does provide power gauge. So she does give power gauge as well as her debuff. But is she gonna be in double S tier support wise? Maybe. But I'll leave her here for now and I'll adjust later. So Gogan-Hee, double S. The best, probably this one of the best characters for this. He just buffs so much, especially for light damage and his core. His damage usually is hitting around 400 to 500 million for me. And I have him A5. If your CP is higher, he's definitely going to be higher. But he buffs light. He buffs light a ton. He breaks, which for the break phase is going to be amazing there. He gives shield so he just doesn't die. His damage is actually surprisingly crazy. Plus, you can build him with Burning Greed, and you're just going to give a 30% damage buff to your DPS for your in his team, which is including himself. So he just does so much. He's going to be one of your highest DPS. He's going to give utility, especially if you have another light character in this, which there will be, and it's just crazy. So he just does so much for that. Minbyo, is it Imtegu? I'm sorry, Imtegu. Imtegu is just another breaker that I'm just gonna have to put in C. He doesn't bring much other than damage, and his damage is not really, it's not good enough. So he's just gonna have to be in C. Hong Dong-Soo, easy D. He doesn't give his damage. He's wind, so there's just better options. Emma, I can put a B. She breaks, which is good, as well as she buffs fire. But her damage, I don't think is strong enough to be anywhere higher. I don't know if I can say she's better than Yusu Hyun here. I don't think she is. So I think B is perfect for her. So yeah, Cha, we can either put in here or in double S. The reason for that is that her damage is actually crazy because Gogan-Hee exists. The Gogan-Hee buffs Cha's light damage by, I guess, 16%. Buffs her crit damage by so much for no reason. If you run Cha with Burning Curse as well as Expert, her damage is going to be insane. Normally, her damage, at least for my runs, is rivaling Amamiya's. And that's crazy. Amamiya's damage is just insane. And she's rivaling that just because Gogan-Hee's exists. So they're kind of buffing each other because the more light you have, the more damage Gogan-Hee gives with his A1. Plus, it's just so much damage from Cha. It's just, I don't think I can put her in the same tier as Alicia. So with that, next, Amamiya. Amamiya, double S, gonna be probably your highest damage on all your runs if everything goes well. Sometimes my damage with her is like fluctuating between like 450 million to 600 million. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But most of the runs, she's going to be the highest DPS that you have. So I think that's only fair to put her in double S. Ooh. This guy. Baekhyun-ho, right? I forgot his name quick. SM Baekhyun-ho, yeah. Yeah, Baekhyun-ho. This Baekhyun-ho is actually in B. While he's a breaker, he's better than these other breakers because of one thing. Defense reduction. So just because he has defense reduction, he's going to be in B. The only problem of his defense reduction is that you have to hit an enemy with 3 skills or your ult. So his defense reduction just takes too long. And then SM Beck doesn't really do anything other than damage. You don't really care for damage when someone else do more damage. Ana Ruiz gonna be in S. Ana Ruiz, unlike Baekhyun-ho, they break, as well as she reduces the enemy's defense with her A3 by 10%. And the thing with Ana Ruiz is that we don't have her exclusive weapon yet. and her exclusive weapon reduces the enemy's defense by an additional 10%. And defense reduction in this game mode is insane. It boosts your damage by so much. Pretty much kind of almost doubles your damage when you have a character who just straight up shreds defense for free. And the exact same reason, Kim Chul. If you guys didn't know Kim Chul, and I haven't seen a lot of people with Kim Chul. So Ana Ruiz, her defense reduction is 10% with her poison field, but that lasts for 30 seconds. Kim Chul at A5 inflicts a defense decrease of 16% with his shield jump. His shield jump has an 8-second cooldown. So that's always going to be active. So just a really good defense shredder that if you guys need it, definitely run these two or one of these two. You don't have to run both. And that's going to be your just amazing for your damage, which is puts us to Choi Jong-in. The person who we think is the worst character in the game is actually probably the best character in raid mode, because his weapon at A5 is a 20% defense reduction. So Kim Chul is 16, Ana Ruiz is 10, his is 20. Really, really strong, and all you need is to attack a burned enemy. So that's on every skill. You might have a 5-second 5-second duration, but that's just gonna be refreshed because everything does, especially the core. You just core with Jong-in, that's gonna burn them. How long is this burn? 15 seconds. So that defense reduction is always gonna be active. So this is what I think gonna be the best hunters to use. So the team that I'm running right now, shoutouts to the Syndicate group, because shoutouts to Fang and Uso, who's been doing a lot of research for this. So I like to run Maylin with the chairman, and then I would run either Cha or Alicia depending on who I had built better. At the moment, my Cha is slightly more duped out than my Alicia. My second team is usually the Wind team with Amamiya, Hansemi, plus a defense reducer with Choi. And then my third team is just the utility team with Lee Bora, a defense reduction with Ana Ruiz or Kim Chul. I still have to test out between these two on who's better. So far, I'm just running Ana Ruiz because the poison field is just larger. And then for the third character, you can either go with Min if you need some healing. If you need some damage, you can put in Alicia for an extra like 100 million from that fight. And then other than that, if we can get a better character, that's probably good. In the next patch, we're going to get 2 lolis, sadly, who are dark. So that might be the best third team. It's going to just be the dark team, depending on what Harper and I forgot what the other character name does. So that's for the hunters. Now, just a quick build suggestions. So for DPS, you're going to want to run Burning Curse plus Expert. So that would be like on Amamiya, that would be on Shaheen, that would be on Alicia. You're going to be running Burning Curse plus Expert. For your supports, you're going to be want to run something like Sylph's Blessing. You're going to run Sylph's Blessing. That buffs your damage by so much. And then paired up with that, you can either do one-hit kill to reduce their ultimate cooldown. You can do Noble Sacrifice for more attack. You can do Angel in White for more damage. Stuff like that. Burning Blessings, I haven't really tested. The only person who should be running Burning Blessing on your team guaranteed is Sung Jin-woo, which is we're going to talk about in a bit when we talk about the weapon. And then for Chairman, Burning Greed. If you have a break, such as Ana Ruiz and Chairman, you're going to be running Burning Greed. So that's going to be your sets that you're going to want to run. Now for weapons, Sung Jin-woo, you're going to want to build a support, which means Scotty, probably D tier. Plum Sword, surprisingly, I'm going to have to put that in B tier. It's sadly, it's going to be unusable because DPS Sung Jin-woo just loses you so much damage. And then Phoenix Soul, I'm going to have to put you at C. I tried the fire team, just doesn't do enough. Moon Shadow, double S. Because that increases the enemy's damage taken by 45%. As well as it just gets triggered also when you Shadow Step. Going to be a perfect combination for that. Grim Scythe is going to be a DPS weapon, so it's going to be in C. Huntsman, we're going to put in S because Destroy stack is a 16% increased damage taken, so that's going to be also really good. The only thing is you can only get two stacks for 32, and getting that second stack takes forever, so I can only put that in S. This sword sucks for here. Zeke I haven't tested, but it's a damage build. It's a damage weapon, so I don't think it's going to be that strong. Same with the spear, it's just a damage weapon. We don't really want to focus on damage weapon. The SR Frost Sword is going to be in S, because this is pretty much gives you the erosion, which increases your elemental damage by 12%. I believe this is 12%, but it's stacked twice, so 24%. But Thetis Grimoire exists, which is just a better version of the sword, which is going to be in double S. But if you only have the sword at A5 and you don't have Thetis at the highest level, that's going to be there. And then the skills you're going to want to use is Vacuum Wave as well as Ascension Break. Vacuum Wave will give you some increased damage, and Ascension Break will charge up your ultimate, which means more Burning Blessing stacks for your main party. Your main party is most likely going to be Malin, Chairman, and Shaheen. That's probably going to be your main party, because if you do Amamiya, the only one doing damage there is Amamiya, while everyone else is not supporting you much. So it's probably better to run these two, because these two are going to have two main DPS. And then for Blessing Stones, I didn't put it in here, but maybe I'll put it in post. What you're going to want to run is Reawakening for cooldown. You're going to want to do Bloodlust for defense reduction. You're going to want to do We Are One for increasing the damage of your main team. And then for the last one, you can either do the one that increases your speed so you can get in front of the enemy more, or you can do the one for extra dash, or you can do the one that gives you more mana if you're struggling with that. So with that, that's the ranking for this. This is going to be Yuya. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.